A Charlotte father getting national attention for this incident right here. It was all caught on video. He's accused of attacking the suspect charged in the murder of his son.
You're watching The Crime Vault, where we unlock real cases, real motives, and real consequences without the rumors or the clickbait. Everything in this video is based on public information, police reports, media coverage, and allegations. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We send our condolences and respect to the victims and their families, because for them, this isn't content, it's real life. If you're watching right now, go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can keep opening these files.
Tonight's file isn't just about violence inside a courthouse. It's about what happens when a father who buried his son comes face to face with the man accused of killing him. Before we begin, the accused has not been convicted. All suspects are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But grief doesn't wait for a verdict. Let's open the file.
Tonight, we are tracking new developments in a triple shooting that happened in North Charlotte. It's a breaking story you only saw unfold live here on WCNC Charlotte.
And today, the man accused of opening fire faced a judge. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre was in the courtroom and has the latest.
Marion McKnight is just 20 years old, and now he is facing serious charges. Detectives say video they received of the shooting is what helped them identify and arrest him. Marion McKnight is charged with 3 counts of first-degree attempted murder. Tuesday, he faced the judge just days after he was arrested for a triple shooting in North Charlotte. Our cameras were the first on scene moments after the gunfire rang out.
Everybody began to scatter. I came in the house, got down. Like most of the neighbors that admitted that, they ran inside. And when I came inside, it was more rapid gunshots, several.
According to court documents, detectives got video of the shooting. They say it shows someone pull out a gun, firing several times and hitting multiple people. The shooter then runs into a nearby house where police arrested McKnight hours later. Investigators also collected several shell casings and firearms in the back of that home. The victims range in age from 16 and 23 years old. 2 of them were rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, while a third showed up at the hospital with a gunshot wound to the ankle. One victim's mother tells us her son was shot in the neck and had to get surgery, and she is hoping he pulls through. Neighbors say the gun violence is hurting families on all sides.
Back in the day, you had a fist fight, and then the next day you were fine, you were laughing, and you were buddies again. But this day and age, they're just shooting. They don't value life.
Keep in mind that there's somebody's child, there's somebody's nephew. These are somebody's loved one.
McKnight is being held on a $1 million secured bond. If released, he will be on electronic monitoring, and he must stay away from the victims.
First, in just the last 10 minutes, we've now learned a 16-year-old has died following a shooting in North Charlotte. CMPD tells us Jamarie Dixon died yesterday after being shot on Friday. 2 other people were also shot on Stroud Park Court, that's right near the Ivory Baker Recreation Center. 20-year-old Marion McKnight is facing multiple charges in the case, including murder.
In May 2025, Jamarie Dixon, just 16 years old, was shot during an incident in Charlotte, North Carolina. He later died from his injuries. 16. That's not just a number. That's a kid with unfinished dreams, unfinished conversations, a bedroom that will never be lived in again. Police arrested Marion McKnight, 21, and charged him with murder in connection with the shooting. And for a moment, the family probably felt something close to relief and arrest, accountability beginning. But then, bond.
The man on the attack in this video is Shaheem Snipe, and all those punches and kicks are directed at Marion McKnight, who's accused of shooting and killing Shaheem's 16-year-old son, Jamarie Dixon, last year in Charlotte. Talitha Perry says Snipe is a hero.
What Jamarie's dad did, it put smiles on all of our faces.
McKnight's charged with murder in Jamarie's death, but Talitha's son, Nazir, was also shot during the same incident. McKnight's charged with his attempted murder. Nazir was paralyzed from the waist down.
Got shot through his main jugular. He lost his life 2 times. They brought him back.
Talitha says their days are now filled with doctor's appointments, PT, OT, nurse visits.
I relive it every day. I cry every night. I thank God he spared my son's life, but our life is just drastically changed.
Despite the murder charge and prosecutors arguing against it, a judge granted McKnight bond. That led to the encounter with Snipe last week at the Mecklenburg County Courthouse. It was before a hearing about revoking McKnight's bond. Prosecutors say he violated the travel and social media conditions the judge set. McKnight went to the hospital after the attack, and the bond hearing will be rescheduled. McKnight's lawyer said in a statement, "This was the most violent assault I've seen in a courthouse in my 22 years as a lawyer. Any parent can sympathize with the intense grief of losing a child, but the violence we saw in court on Thursday was unacceptable." He also says the shooting was self-defense. Talitha wants McKnight behind bars, though, as her son continues his recovery.
He wasn't moving at all. He couldn't even talk at a time. So, by grace of God, we're moving in the right direction.
McKnight was granted a $100,000 secured bond. He was released, placed on electronic monitoring, living at home while awaiting trial. Now pause right there, because this is where the emotional fracture starts. To the justice system, bond is procedure. To a grieving parent, bond can feel like betrayal. Imagine this, people. You bury your son, you stand over a casket, and months later, the man accused of killing him is sleeping in his own bed. That doesn't sit quietly inside someone. It simmers. February 19th, 2026. Location, Mecklenburg County Courthouse. Prosecutors were in court trying to revoke McKnight's bond. Translation, they were arguing he should go back to jail. For Jamarie's father, Shaheem Snipe, this wasn't just another court date. This was a moment that might have felt like justice finally catching up. But before arguments could even be made, Snipe came face to face with McKnight in the hallway, and something inside him snapped. This wasn't a calculated move. There was no speech, no warning, just motion. Snipe rushed him, punches, kicks, repeated blows. The accused fell to the ground. Officers moved in quickly. A taser was deployed to stop the assault. McKnight was hospitalized. Snipe was arrested, charged with misdemeanor assault inflicting serious injury. Bond for him? $1,000. Released the same day. Now let's talk about motive. Not legal motive, emotional motive. Family members later said he was still grieving deeply. He had never healed. Seeing McKnight free for months had been tearing at him. Jamarie's aunt reportedly said any father would have done the same thing. His mother said watching the video gave her a rare smile. That tells you everything about the emotional state of that family. This wasn't about dominance. This wasn't about ego. This was about pain, unresolved boiling pain. When a parent loses a child, their nervous system doesn't go back to normal. Every sight, every reminder, every court date, it's like reopening the wound. Now imagine seeing the person accused of causing that wound walking toward you in a courthouse hallway. For some people, the system processes that. For others, it explodes. Here's the uncomfortable part. Two truths can exist at once. A father's grief is real and devastating. Violence inside a courthouse cannot be normalized. Courts are controlled environments for a reason. If families begin attacking defendants inside hallways, it threatens witness safety, jury impartiality, security integrity, the entire legal process. Defense attorneys can even argue emotional bias or hostile environments. That's why judges urge families to remain calm, not because they don't care, but because cases can collapse under chaos. This case is bigger than one hallway fight. It represents a growing tension in America. Families who feel the justice system moves too slow, bond reform debates, electronic monitoring controversies, and the emotional cost of waiting years for a trial while grieving. For Shaheem Snipe, that hallway may have felt like the only moment he'd get to physically confront the man accused of killing his son. Right or wrong, that's likely what was going through his mind. As of now, the murder case against McKnight remains pending. The bond revocation request was still part of the process. Snipe's assault charge is active. The legal system continues, but emotionally, that family is still in the same place they were the day Jamariah died, grieving. This isn't a simple good guy, bad guy story. It's a tragic collision between grief, process, anger, procedure, and human limits. The justice system demands patience. Grief demands release. And when those two collide, you get a courthouse hallway that turns into a battlefield. Now, I want to hear from you. If you were that father, would you have been able to walk past? Or does justice require discipline, no matter how deep the pain? Comment below. And subscribe for updates as this case unfolds. This is the Crime Vault Unlocked, and this file is far from closed.